Trump says he's trying to achieve peace through strength, but Trump's view of strength is really just selfish belligerence. This was on full display during Trump and J.D. Vance's recent blow-up in their meeting with Zelensky, which was embarrassing for the United States. Trump and Vance were trying to bully Zelensky into submission. They're clearly more interested in protecting their egos than protecting their allies. Turning on your allies puts you in a weaker position, not a stronger one. Being selfish and belligerent may force others to comply in the short term, but over time it will cause conflict, lose you friends, and gain you enemies, which causes you to be isolated and weak. No one will want to help you, work with you, or come to your defense if you're a jerk who only cares about yourself. Trump's America First stance reveals a very limited, short-sighted way of thinking about power. He seems to think that the most effective form of power is coercion, force, and brute strength. That seems to be why he likes Putin so much. Who has the most obedient government? Who has the biggest army? Who has the most money? If you have those things, you have all the cards because you can force people to do your will. But there's a different way to wield power that's much more durable, more effective, and ultimately more powerful than mere force. Hey, I'm Asante, and here's what I've been thinking. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel, we're imagining a better political future by looking at how democracy and power really work and what we the people need for society to thrive. The more powerful and durable way to get what you want is to build solidarity rather than using force. You make your proposal so attractive that people want to buy into your plan. Anyone can bark orders. It shows more strength to have people voluntarily going your way. This is the soft power of persuasion rather than the hard power of coercion. USAID was an example of soft power, and was only about 0.6% of our annual government spending. It cost us relatively little to help others, but it gained us goodwill, prestige, and influence around the world. Power through solidarity, through persuading people to work with you, that power is more durable and more effective than coercion for two main reasons. First, forcing someone to do something against their will may work in the short term, but it comes back to bite you later because no one likes being dominated. The person you forced to submit probably now hates you and will find ways to resist and undermine your work in the future, including turning other people against you. Or they will at least try to extract themselves from you so that they never have to work with you again, which gives you less power over them the next time. And secondly, any social order that's only established through force is fragile and costly to maintain. You need to be constantly paying for guards and weapons and law enforcement. The second there's a chink in your armor, the people who now hate you will find a way to exploit it and take you down. Even the most brutal dictators know that they need to have general public support in order to survive. This is part of the point of democracy and diplomacy, to establish relationships and trust so that people willingly come together to reach shared goals. In the long term, collaboration is more effective and more efficient than force. But you can't collaborate with someone who's trying to dominate. If one side is unwilling to be civil and come to an agreement, then the only choice for survival would be to put up a resistance. Force is best used as a last resort, not a first move. It's a response to someone else's aggression, a united front that doesn't allow the domineering person to bulldoze the rest of us. If we value our freedom, then dictatorial behavior is not something that can be tolerated. Trump said that Zelensky was gambling with World War III, but Trump's strategy of selfish belligerence is what's putting us on the path to war. That's the America First fallacy. Selfish belligerence in the long term leads to war and weakness. Solidarity is what has kept us at relative peace since World War II. The idea that us democracies are going to stick together, spread democratic values that persuade others to be on our side, and defend ourselves against dictatorial bullies. We got our whole posse here, and if you step to us, we'll take you out, okay? We've done it before, and we'll do it again. That's the strategy of deterrence. It only works if you have friends, if your posse, in this case NATO, sticks together. Now, of course, Putin doesn't like the existence of the NATO posse because it makes the West harder to bully. It gives the West power. And Putin, like all dictators, wants ultimate power for himself. So a bully would want to break up your posse so he can attack you when you're isolated and weak. Putin tried this with Ukraine, which was technically not a member of the NATO posse, but lo and behold, several members of NATO had Ukraine's back anyway, because they know how this works. If the bully can pick people off one at a time, then it's only a matter of time before he gets to you. Hence Zelensky's warning to the US in the meeting. You may have this nice big ocean between you and Russia now, but sooner or later, you're gonna feel it. The America First strategy is like saying, I'm the biggest, baddest member of this posse. I don't need the rest of y'all because I'm the strongest one here. Matter of fact, y'all should pay me back because I've been protecting you. Starting now, I'm just gonna go take care of me. America first. But it doesn't matter if you individually have the biggest muscles. All you need to do is have your back turned for someone to be able to stab you in it. Everyone benefits from having backup. Isolating yourself makes you a weaker target, no matter how strong you think you individually are. That's why you build coalitions and friendships. It's not just the morally nice thing to do, it's the strategic thing to do. Collaboration is better not only for your physical security, but also for your economic prosperity. You need to have friends to do business with, friends to buy your products, friends who will share information with you. That's the opposite of using tariffs to start a trade war. America's economic aggression hurts everyone. Europe clearly understands this. Many Americans clearly do not. Trump and Vance and the modern Republican Party would rather be controlling than collaborative. They frame cooperation as weakness and submission rather than as something that benefits everyone. Better for us to destroy the existing order and force our own will than to work with others as equals. But that makes sense when all you want is power for yourself, when you're inherently distrustful of other people, when you're narcissistic enough to think that you're the greatest of all time, you're the one who always knows best, and no one else contributes anything of value. It's a delusional worldview disconnected from reality that can have you telling the story of personal strength, but that will actually have you alone, confused, and physically and emotionally fragile. What we saw in the US meeting with Zelensky was a worldview clash, down to the tension over Zelensky's outfit. Zelensky has been wearing fatigues and military-style attire in solidarity with his soldiers who are fighting a war for Ukrainian independence. He wasn't just wearing some t-shirt. He was wearing a symbol of Ukrainian independence, with the symbol of Ukrainian independence on it. His allegiance is to his people, not to the trappings of wealth. Here we have someone committed to fighting for freedom and independence for his people, meeting someone who's committed to his own ego and to the image of success and power. Trump, the draft dodger, doesn't understand military service to your country. Why would you serve others when you could get others to serve you? There's no understanding of the value of solidarity, no understanding of the benefits of working towards the common good. This matches Trump's anti-democratic approach to governing domestically, which I covered in this video. It's the same dictatorial pattern of thinking, and it has the same weakness. Now, there is some reasonable basis for Republican dissatisfaction with NATO because Europe had kind of been slacking in paying for its own national defense. There may be times when you feel like one of your friends in the posse isn't pulling their own weight. However, if you wanted to address that issue and still remain their friend, then you wouldn't go out in public and verbally slap them in the face. You also wouldn't abandon them in their time of need. That just makes you look like a fickle and untrustworthy friend, or maybe not even a friend at all. The whole world can now see that the United States can't be trusted to stick up for its allies. Basically, we have become an I know ally in name only. Yelling at someone is juvenile and combative. Negotiation takes skill to be able to do well. It also requires you being grounded in reality. You need to be able to see the situation clearly, understand the other party's real needs and your own leverage, and demonstrate that you can actually deliver. But Trump and today's Republicans in general don't deal in the truth. Trump and Vance mainly believe in their own superiority. They can't handle the truth when it counters their own fabricated narrative of greatness. Being confronted with the truth is what caused the big blowup in the meeting between J.D. Vance and Zelensky, which basically went like this. If I can jump in here, maybe we should just try diplomacy with Putin. We were trying that back in 2014, and Putin occupied our territory anyway, killing our people, taking our land. We signed a ceasefire in 2019, and he kept going. He kept killing our people. You can't negotiate with someone who's trying to dominate. The history shows that Putin does not respect agreements. So, JD, what kind of diplomacy are you talking about right now? How dare you confront me with the truth? I think it's disrespectful that you answered my ignorance with facts in front of the American media. You're wrong. No one is allowed to question our superiority, and you should be grateful that we're even deigning to speak to you right now because your country's falling apart. Oh, you're gonna tell me about my own country? Have you ever been to my country? I've seen stories about your country. In other words, no, he hasn't been. He doesn't know your country, he doesn't know the history, and unlike Zelensky, he's never been president of any country. And yet he thinks he's entitled to sit here and publicly tell you off about things he knows nothing about. If your worldview is rooted in your own superiority, like you know everything there is to know and can't nobody tell you nothing, then you can't handle being told the truth. And not knowing the truth will make you weaker on the battlefield, not stronger. The truth is, everyone's knowledge and abilities are limited. You can't know everything about everything. I certainly don't. And I've had to read from a lot of different sources to get the knowledge that I have today. If you're curious, my recommended reading list on democracy is linked in the description. Lasting strength comes from learning from people who have a diversity of backgrounds and skill sets and areas of expertise. Working with a wide variety of people gives you a more complete picture of what's really going on, and working with friends as allies ensures that you have someone to cover your back. Solidarity is the way to strength and victory and lasting peace. But hey, for some people, their mental idea that they're putting themselves first might be all the victory they need, regardless of the material reality. And who knows, the people who wore "I'd rather be a Russian than a Democrat" t-shirts might be in for a treat. I'll let you make up your own mind. Think about it.